working. So, are we live? Are we live? We're live. I think we might be live. I'm just going to check that you guys can all hear me fine, because I don't want to do this and you guys can't hear me, because that'd be pretty embarrassing on my behalf. But anyway, let's just see. Yeah, you can hear me. Ooh, crisp sound as well. Well, it's crisp sound on my phone. Don't know how it'll be for you guys, but hopefully it's crisp sound for you guys as well. Only gonna be a short live stream today, so because I'm not 100%, but I'm doing things a bit differently. For the past couple of live streams, I've used my camera to do live streams on. You know, the camera that I use for all my YouTube videos. Today I'm using my webcam. I got a new webcam yesterday, and I'm using that today. So that's why I look a bit differently. I kind of like the focus on it. It's not gonna lie. I'm watching myself on OBS, which I'm streaming this on, and I kind of like the focus on it. And so because of the way the webcam works, it's a square format. So I managed to put the image there for you guys. It's there for me, but there for you guys. So there, so that's pretty cool. So you got the image of what I'm talking about today. And yeah, this is probably how it's going to go from now on. I'm probably going to do like one topic a live stream. Because if this works, like it seems to be doing at the moment, then I may as well stick with it. Because it works pretty well in my opinion at the moment. But yeah, so I'm gonna do more live streams now. I said that last week, but I'm gonna start doing more now because I've got a lot more free time. I just haven't been feeling the best last week, but I've still been getting some YouTube videos out. Go and check out my review of Cruella, which I got on Monday, did I? Or Sunday? No, I got out on Sunday, and then I got my review of A Quiet Place 2 out on Monday, which I managed to go and see a preview screening because I have Odeon Limitless at the Odeon that I go to, and managed to go and see a Limitless screening, and that was a lot of fun. It was a cinema full of just cinema geeks, which is great, a lot of fun. By the way, apologies if you hear a bike or tractor or something outside. I live next to a main road. Honestly, it's a bit weird. I live in the country, but I live next to a main road. It's a bit weird that. But anyway, going on with the live stream today. Like I said, it's only gonna be a short one because I'm not feeling 100%. But I thought I'd do another live stream just because why not? So here we are today, and this is my 7th live stream of I Have a Lot to Say. So just say if you don't know what this is, basically once a week, or probably gonna be more than once a week now, probably like 3 times a week, I'm gonna be doing these live streams where I talk about a TV or movie topic that's come in what's going on right now, or might be a bit of movie news, or might be like a movie trailer or TV trailer that's come out, and so on and so on and so on, or maybe even a bit of casting that surprised me. So that's what I'm gonna be talking about in these live streams over the next couple of weeks. That's what Pete's been talking about. And that's what I'm going to be talking about today. I'm talking about A Quiet Place Part 2, which in the UK, I know in the US it's already been out, but in the UK it comes out tomorrow. Like I said, I managed to see a preview screening, which is very lucky. I almost didn't go to that screening, and I'm so happy that I did, because otherwise I would have had to wait almost a week to go and see it. Because I saw the preview screening last Friday, actually, and I would have had to wait a week to properly see it in the cinema, which I'm going to go and see it again, don't worry, I think I'm going to see it again on Friday, but I didn't want to go. I didn't want to wait. I've really been looking forward to this film, and I got really excited to see it before, obviously, the pandemic rolled around, and then it's been one of my most anticipated movies coming out this year. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's like number 3 and number 4 on my most anticipated movies list, and number 1 is Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm very excited about that. And by the way, I'm going to talk about Spider-Man No Way Home rumours. I'm going to talk about them. There's a lot of rumours going around about Spider-Man No Way Home right now. I might wait till the trailer's been released, because we're going to get a trailer for that film soon, from what I'm hearing, within the next 2 weeks or so. But I'm going to be talking about Spider-Man No Way Home rumours coming out pretty soon. But back to the topic at hand. A Quiet Place Part 2, there you go. I keep having to do it the opposite way for me, because it's the mirror cam and everything. But yeah, none of that really matters for you guys at all. But anyway, that's what I'm talking about today. But if you want me to talk about something in particular in my next live stream, please do put in the comment section below. Whether you're in the live chat right now, please do put in the live chat if you want me to talk about something in particular next week. Or if you're watching some playback, feel free to comment down below and let me know what you want me to talk about next week on, or not next week on the live stream, but whatever I'm going to do in my next live stream, because I always look in the live chat, I know it's going to be in the comment section. So please do let me know if you want me to talk about something in particular in my next live stream. Also, if you want to send in any live questions, please feel free to do so. I think the live chat is below. I'm not sure how it works for people who are watching this. I think it's below. Yeah, I've watched live videos before. Of course it's below. Yeah, I think my live chat is below. So do go and check that out and put in the live chat if you want me to talk about anything in particular in this live stream. If you want to ask me any questions, movie, TV related, please feel free to. But until then, let's get into my main topic today. Like I said, I'm going to be a short live stream, but quite a significant one in my opinion. And what I'm talking about today is my 5 reasons why you should watch A Quiet Place Part 2, which comes out tomorrow in the UK, or if you're in the US and you're watching this, and you haven't checked it out yet, here are 5 reasons that you should. So, number 5, if you've liked the first A Quiet Place film, and by the way, if you haven't checked that film out, go and check it out. It's a brilliant film in my opinion. If you like the first Quiet Place film, go and check out this one. It's a hell of a lot of fun, and you know what? There are actually some parts of this film that I would say are superior to the first one. You know what? I'll probably say the whole film is superior, to be honest. And that's coming from someone who's quite a fan of the first one. I mean, I didn't love it, but I'm quite a big fan of it. But the thing is with this one, I don't know. Watching it in the cinema was just... It was so incredible. I think there are parts of this film which are more intense than the first film, which is kind of why I like it a bit more, in my opinion. And I think it's a brilliant follow-on from the first film. I think, like I said, I talked about it in my review already, but it's almost like it's almost like if A Quiet Place was a book, it'd be like the second chapter of that book. Like, you could have A Quiet Place chapter 1, which is obviously the first film, and then A Quiet Place chapter 2, which would be this film, and hopefully get A Quiet Place chapter 3. I'd love to see where the story continues, not to get too much spoilers. Not to go into too much spoilers there, but they leave the film a bit open. Let's hope they follow that up. But hopefully we'll get A Quiet Place Part 3. So this all feels like one book. That's literally why it's called A Quiet Place Part 2, because it feels like the second chapter in a book. It almost feels like the Quiet Place story is a book, and this will be the second chapter, and that's what I really love about it. And it just feels like a continuation from the first one in the best way possible, because literally we pick up a few minutes after. I mean, we have this whole flashback sequence at the beginning, but yeah, that's the beginning, yeah. We have this whole flashback sequence at the beginning of the film, but then you cut back to the present day in this post-apocalyptic future where, you know, monster hunting people by sound, and we've once again followed the Abbott family, you know, Emily Blunt's character, Noah Jupe's character, Milton Simmons' character. We've followed them once again, and it's picking up straight where the first one left off. And I just thought that was so unique about it. It's a proper horror sequel in the best way possible, and I really like that about it. And so that's number 5 on why you should go and check out A Quiet Place Part 2. If you've liked the first one, go and check it out. It's a proper sequel to the first one in the best way possible. And like I said, in my opinion, there are actually large parts of this film which are far superior over the first one, to the point that I'd actually probably say I like the film overall over the first one, which is something I didn't expect to say about this film at all, because that's coming from someone who's quite a big fan of the first film. But, you know, I kind of like the second one in some parts a bit more. Actually, in large parts a bit more. Okay, number 4, my 4th reason why you should go and watch A Quiet Place Part 2 is that it's intense. It's really, really intense, and it's a proper horror film. I know a lot of people like going watching horror films at the cinema, and I know The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It, something like that. I don't even know. I don't watch The Conjuring films, but I know The Conjuring 3 is out right now. But honestly, without even watching this film, without even watching The Conjuring 3, I can probably say that A Quiet Place Part 2 is better for so many reasons, because it's so intense and it's so well made, and that's going to lead me on to my point number 3 very soon in this live stream. But the thing is, though, it's really intense, and it's a proper horror movie in the best way possible. If you're wanting to go back to the cinema, if you haven't been there for a long while, maybe you didn't go check out Godzilla vs. Kong, or maybe you haven't seen any movies in the cinema yet, and you're thinking about going back, but you don't know what movie to see, go and check out Quiet Place Part 2, especially if you like horror movies, because I feel people are really going to love this movie. By the way, I don't know if I'm meant to be looking up there, or I'm going to look down here for now on. Sorry if things are a bit wrong in this live stream, by the way, because it's my first time using my webcam properly, but for the sake of this live stream, I'm just going to look down at where I am, which might not be the right place. Actually, it's probably better to look there. But you get my point. I feel that it's a really intense film, and it's a proper horror film to watch in the cinema, and I feel that if you're big on horror films and you really like watching them in the cinema, go and check out A Quiet Place Part 2, because you will not be I'm speaking a bit French there. You'll not be disappointed by the intensity and horror of this film, which just works so well for me, in my opinion. And that's coming from someone who's not a horror fan. I did talk about this in my Quiet Place Part 2 review, that I'm not really a fan of horror movies, just because I don't really like being scared, to be honest. But the thing is, though, the horror and intensity in A Quiet Place Part 2 worked to me so well. I like that so much about that film. And so that's point number 4 on why I should go and watch A Quiet Place Part 2, because it is so intense and it's a proper horror film in the best way possible. And that leads me on to point number 3. John Krasinski's direction of this film is so much more confident. Now, John Krasinski directed the film. He directed the first film, and I thought the first one was really well directed. But especially the scene where Emily Blunt's character, Evelyn Abbott, goes into labour and has to give birth, but trying to keep as quiet as possible. I thought that was a masterful scene in the first film, and it's just the way that scene was all built up and everything. But then I think Krasinski's direction in the second film is far more confident than it wasn't the first film. And I really liked his direction in the first film, can I point that out? But I thought his direction in this film was far more confident. You know, he had quite a lot of long one takes, almost like Spielberg does in quite a lot of his films, and I'm a huge fan of Spielberg. And at the same time, what do I mean by the long takes, by the way? It's like the way, you know, the way 1917 is shot. It's almost done as one long take, and that's what I love so much about this film. The fact that it feels, pardon me, the fact that Krasinski's direction is so much more confident, and you can really tell in some of the best sequences possible, like just the way he directs some of the flashback sequences at the start of the film, and just the way he directs some of the later sequences is just so masterful in my opinion. Krasinski is a massive experiment, and it's hard to imagine that the person who played Jim Halpert in The American Office is now directing horror films, and pretty damn well in my opinion. It's pretty funny that, and I absolutely love his direction of the film. I think it's far more confident than the first one, and so that's another reason to go and watch A Quiet Place Part 2, because his direction is so much more confident, and you'll literally be drawn to his direction on the screen in the best way possible. I think his direction is brilliant in this film, and I think he's far more confident than he was in the first one. I also love his attention to detail, by the way, and you'll get what I mean there when you see the film. There's a lot of just small details in the film which he might throw in, like in the first act, like in the first half an hour or the first hour of the film, and it comes back a bit later on, and like, oh, now that's clever, and I really like about that. I really like that about the film. So that's the third reason, in my opinion, that you should go and watch A Quiet Place Part 2, because Krasinski's direction is far more confident. The direction of the film is far more confident than was in the first one. Okay, and let's talk about point number 2, why you should go and watch A Quiet Place Part 2 in the cinema. It's not a film about the monsters, which I didn't talk about in my review actually. It's not a film about the monsters. It's a film, yet again, about the family that you follow. It's a film about, you know, it's a film about the Albert family, and it's a film about Cillian Murphy's character and everything. It's a film more about the humans, and the monsters are not centre frame, much like the first one. Like, one of the big issues with so many horror sequels is that people love the villain, so the villain becomes centre frame of, you know, those horror sequels, and ultimately the horror sequels don't work. But that's why this film does, because it carries on those themes from the first film in the best way possible, even to the point of not having the monster centre frame again. I mean, don't get me wrong, you get to see more monsters in the film than you get to see in the first film, but the film always focuses on the human characters. It never leaves the human characters. And that's what I love so much about this film. The fact that it just focuses on the human characters in the best way possible. You feel like you're on this journey with the human characters, much like you are in the first film. And that's another thing that I love so much about the film. The fact that the monsters aren't centre frame yet again. It's a film about the characters, and yet it's so much more intense because you have that emotional investment with the characters. So when they're in, you know, moments of peril and moments of, oh my god, what's going to happen to these characters? You know, you sit there, and when you see the monsters pop up, you are more drawn to the humans in the best way possible. Even though the monsters are all really, you know, scary in the film, the thing I like so much is the fact that you have that emotional alignment with the characters, because the film is more about them. They're not the characters, you know, the human characters are centre frame, but the monsters aren't. And that's what's so brilliant and so unique about this film, and I really like that about it. And so that's point number 2. I don't know, I didn't know what number was on then. That was point number 2 on why you should go and watch A Quiet Place Part 2 in the cinema. So let's move on to point number 1. I'm gonna look down here again, just making sure everything's fine on this live stream so far. Let's see if anyone's putting something in the chat. Just give me a sec. No one's put something in the chat. If you want to put something in the chat, by the way, please feel free, and I will hopefully answer it soon, within the next, whenever you put it in the chat. But anyway, I've got one viewer. Hello to my one viewer. Hello. Anyway, okay, let's move on to this live stream. So, point number 1 on why you should go and watch A Quiet Place Part 2 in the cinema. It's a film to be seen in the cinema. That's why I should go and watch it. You know, the cinemas weren't open during the pandemic, and I really missed them, to be honest. I really did. And maybe I wouldn't feel the same way about this if there was no pandemic. And the fact is, I got to watch A Quiet Place Part 2 in, you know, March 2020. But the fact is, the film got pushed back, and the fact is, there was a pandemic. And I think this is such a fantastic movie to watch in the cinema. I think the way sound is used in the film is brilliant. Like, I'm a huge love of when sound is used well in film. Like, I love musical scores in film, and I love the way that sound is used in film. I love when filmmakers play around what they can do with sound. Like, I love that about the first Quiet Place film, the fact they just had normal sounds in the first Quiet Place film, just like a ball game you knocked over, amplified into one big jump scare in the film. And that's what I like so much. That's what I like so much about the first Quiet Place. Just normal sounds were amplified into so much bigger sounds, and you only had two scenes in the first Quiet Place film where two characters verbally spoke to each other. All the other most of the scenes in the first film, were all done through sign language. And even so, that isn't counted into the second film, because obviously Cillian Murphy's character, and he doesn't know how to speak sign language because he doesn't really know his family. So there's a bit more verbal speaking. There's a bit more speaking scenes in the film where characters are verbally speaking to each other in the second film. Even so, that is still there. The sound design is still yet again brilliant. Honestly, one of the things which I was really worried about is the sound. This is just me, someone who's a huge film fan, but is the sound design still going to be brilliant in this film? And let me just say it is. There's just simple moments in the film, like when I'm not going to give too much away here. Actually, I'm not going to go into it. But there's one moment in the film when a bird just swooshes away from Millicent Simmons' character. And it's just done as one big jump scare. And I just thought that's so unique about this film. And I absolutely love that when just the bird just swooshed away. And it was just done one big jump scare. And I remember being in the cinema going, oh, that was good. I love sound design like that in the film. I love the way that this film plays with sound as well. Like, because Millicent Simmons' character is deaf, and she's basically the main character. She's the daughter of the Abbott family. Because her character is deaf, whenever you get to her character and her viewpoint of what's going on in this whole situation, whether it's in the flashback or in the present day in the film, the sound in the film just goes silent. Because she's a deaf character. And I just think that's so unique about the film. And then I just love the way sound is used. It's so key to the film. I mean, here's a little thing. I went to go watch this film last Friday, and it was just after I just done a show in a Cruella, and I was a bit hungry. And basically, the cinema I go to, they do nachos. So I met with my brother, and we both got nachos before going into to watch this film at the cinema. And I'm just going to see if people can realise the problem with getting nachos to go and see A Quiet Place Part 2. You get the problem going on there? Yeah. Basically, it was going to be quite noisy. So, while we're watching the adverts and the trailers before Quiet Place Part 2 is going to come on, obviously the film's going to come on, and I started to realise halfway through the trailers, I'm not going to be able to eat these during the film. And honestly, I remember just holding up the nachos as quick as possible, just to make sure that I'd ate them all before the film came on. Because honestly, there were so many moments in the film where the cinema was just completely and utterly quiet. And that was great. There was no one speaking in my cinema, which is awesome. So there was no one speaking in my cinema. And it was just, so many moments in the film where the cinema was just completely, utterly quiet. And it was almost like a tumbleweed could run through that moment in the cinema. It's so brilliant, things like that. And I just love the way the sound is used in the film. And I love the way that it builds sequences the best way possible. Just the way you're sitting in the cinema and you feel like you're there with the characters. Just whether it's through the lighting, because the fact is the film's quite dark, and obviously the cinema lighting's quite dark as well. I mean, I know it's a bit of a iffy connection, but the truth is that is a connection in the film, in my opinion. The fact that I was watching this film in the cinema, and the film was quite dark in itself in terms of lighting, and in terms of tone, actually. It's quite a dark film. But at the same time, though, the cinema was so dark as well, which is like so much about the film. But at the same time, though, just the way sound is used, it sounds so... it on the surface, it sounds, no pun intended, it sounds so small that it just sounds so, insignificant. Okay, the way sound is brilliantly used in this film, but the truth is, it's so significant in the grand scheme of things in the film. When you sit there and you watch this film take place, you're constantly on the edge of your seat because of the way sound is used, and that's what's so unique about the film. It's a film to see in the cinema. Honestly, it really is. If I could watch the first one in the cinema, if I could go back in time in 2018 when the first one came out, and I had the opportunity to watch it in the cinema, I would. Because honestly, when I watched this second film in the cinema, I literally just sat there thinking, wow, this is a film to watch in the cinema. It truly is. It's so well made. The sound design is brilliant. And it's just it's an amazing film to watch in the cinema. It really is. It's one of those films which really gets you back into why you love cinema. Like, if you haven't been to the cinema in such a long while, go and check out Quiet Place Part 2. Make it the first film you watch going back to the cinema. Or if you have been to the cinema and you just haven't seen a horror film yet, make sure you go and watch this one. Ignore The Conjuring 3, it's probably crap, but go watch this film because It's a proper horror film in the best way possible. Proper horror film that people should definitely go watch in the cinema. It's just so amazing, and it's a movie made to go see in the cinema. And so much that, John Krasinski wrote out in the film, like I said, and starred the film at some stages because he was in the first film quite a lot, and he's in the flashback sequence of this film. But so much that John Krasinski, right director of the film, has actually gone around to all these cinemas in America and surprised people and said thank you for seeing it in the cinema, because it is a movie to see in the cinema, and I can't reiterate that enough. It's just a movie made to see in the cinema. So if you have any interest in going watching A Quiet Place Part 2, go and watch it in the cinema. Just do it. It's such a movie to watch in the cinema, and I can't recommend that enough. I want to go watch it again in the cinema because I loved it so much more. I loved it so much the first time in the cinema, and I want to see it again in the cinema. I want to see it again as soon as possible in the cinema. I can't watch it tomorrow, annoyingly, because I'm going out tomorrow. But on Friday evening, I will go and watch A Quiet Place Part 2 in the cinema, and I can't wait to see it again in the cinema. I really can't. It's a movie made for the cinema, just through the way sound is used. And I know that sounds insignificant on the surface, but honestly, when you get into the cinema and you watch that, when you see the way sound is used in the film, maybe don't see the way, but you hear the way sound is used in the film, it just builds up in the intensity and the horror facts of the film in the best way possible. It really does. It's a movie to watch in the cinema, and I can't reiterate that enough. And so those are my 5 reasons why you should go and check out A Quiet Place Part. Just look up there. I keep looking down there because this is where I'm looking at myself in the screen right now. I should be looking up there, actually. So apologies about that if I'm looking in 2 different directions. That's because my webcam's up there and my me looking at myself is here. So yeah, that's just the way I've got it up in my streaming software that I'm using right now. But you get the point. Yes, so those are my top 5 reasons that you should go and watch A Quiet Place Part 2 in the cinema when it comes out tomorrow in the UK, or if you're in the US and you're watching this and you haven't got around to watching A Quiet Place Part 2 in the cinema, go and check it out for these 5 reasons. First of all, number 5. If you like the first Quiet Place film, go and check out this one. It's a direct continuation, the best way possible. Like I said, it almost feels like a second chapter of a book. It almost feels like this could be A Quiet Place Part 2, Chapter 2, if you get what I mean. And I just love that about this film. I love the fact that it feels like a direct continuation of the first Quiet Place in the best way possible. Another reason I think, the fourth reason I think people should go watch it from the cinema is because it's intense. It's a proper horror movie. It's a proper horror movie to see in the cinema as well. Like I said before, if you're thinking of a horror movie to watch in the cinema right now, go and check out A Quiet Place Part 2. And at the same time, though, number 3 on my 5 big reasons of why you should go watch A Quiet Place Part 2 in the cinema, because the direction is so much more confident. John Krasinski's direction in this film is far more confident than it was in the first film. I loved his direction in the first film. I thought it was masterful in some parts, but his direction in this film is so much more confident. And number 2, on why you should go and watch A Quiet Place Part 2 in the cinema tomorrow when it comes out, or like I said in the USA, it's already come out, and why you should go and watch it in the USA or in the UK, whenever it comes out, wherever you are. Number 2 on my top 5 reasons of why you should go and watch A Quiet Place Part 2 in the cinema, it's that it's not a film about the monsters. It's a film about the characters, but in the best way possible. You feel so much more intense. You feel so much more emotional allegiance with these characters because you follow them more than the monsters. That's something which makes it such a good horror sequel, by the way. The fact that it's not about the monsters. So many horror sequels, they realize that the monster is the success of their film, and then they make the horror sequel about the monsters. But actually, the unique thing about A Quiet Place Part 2 is that it's a film not about the monsters. It's a film about the characters yet again, and you feel so much more emotional aligned with these characters, and so when those intense scenes come up, you're literally gripping the edge of your seat. I mean, I was in the cinema, you're literally gripping the edge of your seat. Oh my god, where's the scene going to go in the best way possible? I absolutely love that about this film. And my number 1 reason of why you should go and watch A Quiet Place Part 2 in the cinema is because it's a movie made for the cinema. It's just the way it's put together, the use of sound in the film, and just the way it's to me so made for the cinema. If you haven't been to the cinema in such a long while, I know I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. If you haven't been to the cinema in a long while because of the pandemic, make A Quiet Place Part 2 the movie you go back to the cinema to see. Because it's so good to watch, and it's a movie made for the cinema. And I can't really put my finger on why it is, but if you go and watch A Quiet Place Part 2 in the cinema, you'll understand what I mean there. It's a movie so made for the cinema. It's a movie made to go and watch the cinema and indulge yourself in the film, just in the cinema, in the dark screening, and you just feel like you're there with the characters in the best way possible. And honestly, A Quiet Place 2 is a movie made for the cinema, and I can't reiterate that enough. And so those are my 5 reasons why you should go and check out A Quiet Place Part 2 in the cinema. And so that was my live stream today. Like I said, it's going to be a short one, but I tried to talk about, I was being about 23 minutes long actually. That's longer than I thought it was going to be. But still, hopefully you enjoyed this live stream. And if you don't feel like watching A Quiet Place Part 2 in the cinema, and my reasons didn't convince you, go and check out Cruella. It's a lot of fun as well. I did actually really enjoy myself with Cruella. I'm probably going to go and check it out again, because it's actually far more enjoyable than I thought it was going to be, which is something I didn't expect to say about Cruella at all. And this is from somebody, by the way, doesn't really like Disney remakes. I'm not a fan of the 2019 Aladdin. I'm not a fan of the 2019 Lion King. And what's the other one? Dumbo. I'm not really a fan of Dumbo either. Even though I love Tim Burton, Dumbo just massively disappointed me. But Cruella was surprisingly actually a lot of fun. I really enjoyed myself. So if you're not in the mood to watch A Quiet Place Part 2, you don't like horror films, go and check out Cruella. It's a lot of fun as well. Although I don't have 5 strong reasons that you could go and watch Cruella in the cinema, I must admit. But I do have 5 strong reasons why you should go and watch A Quiet Place Part 2 in the cinema. It's just brilliant. It's a movie made for the cinema. Go and check it out, because I can assure you now, especially if you're looking for a horror movie to watch in the cinema, you will not be disappointed with A Quiet Place Part 2. And so that is my live stream today. Let's see if I've got any comments in the live section. No, I didn't get any live comments. But if you want me to talk about something in particular next week, please do put in the comment section below and let me know. If you're watching some playback, please do put in the comment section below. And let me know if you want me to talk about something in particular next week. Maybe it's just, I don't know, something Bond related, maybe something Marvel related, maybe something DC related, or maybe something Indiana Jones related, or maybe something Star Wars related, or maybe it's just something in movie and TV news just in general. If you want me to talk about it next week, please do put in the comment section below and let me know in the comment section. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this live stream today. I am going to be doing another one later in the week. I don't know when yet, but I promise I will be doing another live stream later on in this week. But until then, look forward to that next live stream. And thank you as always for watching. And if you haven't yet, please do click down below and like, subscribe on this video. And look forward to many more both film and TV views and live streams coming very, very soon on this channel. See you guys again soon. Bye-bye for now. Bye. I'll take me about 5 minutes to actually end the stream. Bye.